Part of our football 101 series from Film Don't Lie from UGAsports.com. That's Brent Rollins. I'm Dayne Young. We want to make you a little bit smarter when you watch Georgia football, and we're telling you some of the tendencies that we see on film and breaking it down from a very basic standpoint so you can recognize what Georgia's doing. This part of the series, we're talking about Georgia's running game, specifically the pull lead concept. Brent, I think people know those terms, kind of what they mean. How does it all work in unison for this play?
Well, with Georgia, it's formational, and it's again the money formation that we often talk about, the trips bunch with Darnell Bowers, a receiver, and then a single receiver to the other side. They can do so many unique things out of it because of what Darnell Washington brought to them on the edge. And I think that's the biggest question. We've talked about that throughout the series. The biggest question for them in 2023 is who fills that role. But you see it, like even here, you see Bowers do it. You're going to see Rosemary Jackson be someone who gets involved in some of this action. But when you think about the sort of pull lead concept is you have a lineman pulling outside and leading the play. So if that's going to happen, that means somebody has to come down to block whoever it is that is over top oftentimes of that offensive lineman, whether that be guard, if it's on whoever the uncovered oftentimes offensive lineman is. And one of the beautiful things about this play is you can get the edge potentially quickly. And if your tackles and or guards or just offensive line in general, we've even seen it with Van Pran pulling, are athletic enough to get out in space and do damage, especially like you have with Broderick Jones. And I think what they're going to have this year with Amarius Mims and potentially even Ernest Green. Like if you can get out in space like that and get there quick, you don't necessarily like Bowers here. It isn't the greatest block in the world, and it doesn't have to be. It's because one guy just has to get in the way. Even the wide receiver block, that's 80. I'm pretty sure that's 80 Mitchell. Or maybe that's Rosemary Jackson. But they just got to get in the way. Yeah, that's Rosemary Jackson. Just get in the way. Okay. Make them go inside. It's not like it has to be this devastating block. And then you're on the edge quick and you put your your skill guys in space.
One of the best players I've ever seen execute this, and I think he's one of Georgia's top 10 players of all time, is Andrew Thomas, because he could get to the edge so quickly and become a lead blocker so fast. That's why he's so great in the NFL too.
Yes. Athleticism.
He can do everything.
Is king at that position, just like any other else. But in terms of usage, this is down there. I think fourth most in terms of schemes that we've gone over. We've hit count. If you haven't hit others in the series, we're going to do counter, inside zone, man, sort of power duo type run scheme. This is the fourth most one they run in terms of success rate. It's also fourth in success rate, but third in explosive play rate. So they do get a little bit more explosive plays versus what they actually do.
Didn't we do a play where they ran this behind Ben Cleveland one time?
Quite certain.
That's a fun one to remember.
And I think he was going right. And I want to say it was they faked left and then pitched it sort of back to the right.
Yep.
The opponent,
I remember it was a home game.
It was a home game,
and
I'm pretty sure it was a night game too. So somebody's gonna hit the comments in that. Yeah, I remember that. But yes, very similar.
Man coming downhill. I remember it being very funny and very frightening.
And it's down block, get somebody out in space. Same thing here. And it's one where, again, the famous trips bunch, all right, you don't play the weak side like you should. We're going to go over there on first down, go block down, go get our tackle, go pull our tackle out and let our tackle be the lead block here with McClendon, and go get 6, make a corner. It's Forbes, by the way, first-round pick. Make him tackle because the receiver's coming down as well.
And it starts with Washington coming to the side here.
Yep. And, you got a successful almost, I think it ends up being, 7 or 8 yard gain? 6, 7, something like that. Successful first down play.
There's elements. I mean, I've watched a lot of NBA recently as the finals wrapped up. There's elements to it that's just kind of like a screen in basketball of let me get your eyes moving in a different way. And, I have someone in front of you, and now I'm going to run around both of you.
And the big thing with the way offense is now is because of the prevalence of the zone blocking scheme, front, linebackers, indoor defensive linemen, they aren't necessarily used to getting ear-holed in a way. And the lack of that, if you don't have that awareness, you can get a nice little hit. And also, it's, again, not necessarily, I wouldn't say easy, but you have the angle. And that's anything within football is angles, numbers, and space. And it's using those to your advantage. And Georgia's done that over the past few years.
One critical piece of this play, and we talk about, you can't play wide receiver at Georgia if you're not willing to block. Ruse me here. It is so critical, especially going to this short side of the field. You have to make a play, because if you whiff here, this play's dead.
Can't. And I think they trust him.
They should. He's been great.
Yep. And he fights, by the way. And what's beautiful about that is he knows with the way that guy's working. Just watch how his left arm, I think it's his left arm, works on this play, because he hits and he knows, all right, that guy's working outside, so I'm just going to take him there. So that left arm underneath there and just driving with that's beautiful work from him.
Him and McConkey are both really good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And McConkey's just a little undersized, but he fights.
Very much so.
SEC championship game.
I would almost bet that one of the two messed up a little bit here, either Willock or Broderick Jones. But still, it's a phenomenal job. Like, you see what you're able to do, which, by the way, this is very similar to something that I've ripped on when they do it when the running back is on the side where the ball's going, where they just turn and hand it the running back and then run. I think it was a Dayne Edwards play, maybe against Missouri. We did with Film Don't Lie, where I was just like, no, please don't do this ever again. I like it a lot better with the running back getting some steam on the other side. But again, it's Darnell being able to set an edge and get the guy inside. First down play, you're getting 6, 7, 8, whatever yards, and your lineman, by the way, a heck of a job by Willock getting in space and then driving right there to get some of the defensive linemen.
From a spacing standpoint, because if you're playing devil's advocate, you're saying, and you see the potential like bubble that could happen up here. You're saying, look at all this space up here. Why would you not take advantage of this space? Fair point. Maybe if the matchup dictate that. What I tell you is, when you start looking at numbers, look at this space here, and that's what George is trying to manipulate.
And I think that's one of the biggest things we talked about all year with their offense and their running game was just the efficiency of it. It wasn't massively explosive, but it was, we're getting what we want when we want it. And we're always, your stuff rate is one thing that we monitor, is low within all of these categories. Thus, you're always moving forward. You're always sort of being positive as much as you can be. And when you're getting 6, 7, 8 yards on first down, that sets up everything on your offense.
Well, you said there may have been a missed assignment somewhere. Even if you look at the center of this with Van Pran, he really struggles to find who he should get. I mean, it's so quick when you're in there. I'm not trying to be critical of him. I'm just saying he ends up not blocking anyone on this play.
I would almost bet that somebody was supposed to come down on the guy that Willock eventually blocked. Either my guess would be Broderick.
Yeah,
but still, or Broderick thought Darnell was coming down. Who knows? Yeah, but the other thing here is that we have to point out. Go back one more to it. Is the dip in by Kendall Milton here? This is good patience, good little dip to make that guy come inside and then get back out. It's always a dip in to go out, dip out to go in. Like, great job by him. Great helping set up his blockers.
Those little subtle movements make such a big difference with running backs. They really do.
And a lot of this is just natural. I mean, you can work it as much as you possibly can. You can drill it. There's certain ways you can drill it, but a lot of it's just natural feel for the position.
Body control, understanding how others react around you. A lot of it just comes down. Have you played football for a long time?
Yep. This is the ultimate pull and lead. Delp here functioning in the block down roll. And you get Broderick out and student body left, single wing, wildcat, wild dog, whatever you want to call it. It was a beautiful call. Worked. I mean, in the national championship game, I mean, Stetson could have walked into the end zone on that play.
Yeah, I'm not even so sure that Broderick's needed here with the angle of this Stetson. I mean, it would have been tight. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
this was just
it made it easy.
It really did.
Yeah, and his speed, Stetson's speed. Because by the way, you know, folks harped on that a little bit. That's Mr. You know, in essence, 44 kind of has an angle. And you think, oh, 5-star, top 10, top 5 national recruit, defensive end guy should be able to catch the QB right there. No shot. Too fast.
I love the angle of this in particular because it shows you how they've literally split the field here to where these are almost two separate. Like if I took an image of this and didn't have the Ohio State name in the end zone and it wasn't in this stadium, like you could almost imagine this was a practice with like two different groups of people.
Yeah, there's another ball on the other side and they're working a wholly different thing.
Right. Like it just feels that way. And that's what the numbers game in college football is. I think teams have gotten much more savvy about how do you use the width of the field to your advantage while also understanding how far you have to get. This play may not work very well if you need to get 10 yards. Georgia didn't need to get 10 yards. Needed to get exactly what Stetson got.
Yep. Delp, work your butt up field a little more to prevent the spin. Work that left foot more towards the goal line. Other than that, good stuff. Again, diversity, being able to do different things and give your QB options, especially if you give those QB options at the line of scrimmage, makes for a successful running game.
It takes two things physically. One, it takes offensive linemen that are athletic enough to get in the open field and have the coordination to run and block in the open field. And like you say, with that down block, it takes a physical blocking tight end. And if either of those don't work, then the play becomes a bust pretty quickly. I think the receivers help. I think having a mobile quarterback helps. But the core of it really is the communication of that tight end and that lead blocker that's coming from the offensive line. But that's why Georgia recruits a lot of good athletes at offensive line. And that's why it seems like every year we're surprised with how good their 40 times are. And you're like, well, they're great.
Shouldn't be, right? We shouldn't be.
Right. Not anymore. This has been Football 101 from Film Don't Lie from UGAsports.com. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please do. We do a lot of Film Don't Lie coverage in the off season, but once the season gets going, it is every week.
Every Sunday night.
Every Sunday night, a lot of good Georgia content about the game that just happened the day before. And we love doing it. It's a lot of fun. And we have created, with a great team of people at UGA Sports, the most popular YouTube following for the Georgia Bulldogs on this channel. And we talk a lot of SEC stuff. And I make a lot of bad dad jokes because, I have to do it somewhere, right?
And I let my screen go dark and the light flicker and all that sort of stuff.
Well, we're professionals. You know how we do.
That's what we do.
That's Brent Rollins. I'm Dayne.